Hello everyone, my name is Henry. Hello everyone, my name is Henry Corbman. Before this video starts, I just want to give a quick disclaimer and tell you that I have a fan on. It's hot here in Canada. Anyways, on with the preamble. As none of you know, one of my favorite games of all time is Kenshi, a brutal RPG survival RTS where you play as a nobody trying to be somebody. That was what had drawn me to Kenshi, the importance of identity. Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration. In most single-player games a person plays, they always play as the chosen one of some sort. The 3 GTA people, V, the courier, but we rarely get to play as ourselves, with several asterisks attached to that. Even in something like Dark Souls, you're called to do something. Chosen undead sent to rekindle the flame, hunters out hunting wild beasts, tarnished fighting to become Elden Lord. But in Kenshi, the world doesn't really care what you do, and the person you start playing as is just some bum who decided to do something with his life besides getting wasted at a bar. And who you start playing as in Kenshi is important, because depending on your race in Kenshi, some factions might treat you differently, some actions might be easier or harder to perform, and some reactions from other people might be more negative than positive. Today, I wish to talk to you about the lore and racism in Kenshi. But before we start, I just want to say something first. No, I don't believe Lo-Fi Games had racist intentions when working on Kenshi. This isn't a call-out video or an attempt to cancel the devs. I'm analyzing the racism in Kenshi because I like the lore. Nothing else. Okay, on to the video. So, I'm going to analyze each race in Kenshi, their real world, in several quotation marks and also asterisks, parallels, and see how differently they are treated in Kenshi. I'm not going to talk about the unplayable subraces like the Fishmen, Southern Hive, Dead Hive, or Thralls, etc., mainly because they are all hostile to anything and everyone that isn't them. And one last disclaimer, whilst I have more than 240 hours on Kenshi, I still don't know 100% of it. If you know any other acts of discrimination and racism in Kenshi, leave a comment and I'll heart it. Anyways, starting with the humans. They come in 2 forms, Greenlander and Scorchlander. Starting with Greenlanders, the most common subrace in Kenshi, they're very neutral in their stats, and are more so a blank canvas with an emphasis in science, farming, and cooking. They represent the traditional white folk. Scorchlanders, on the other hand, are similar to Greenlanders except they have a higher crafting rate, making them great smithers. But they're also considered more adventurous than their Greenlander counterparts, who prefer to settle down and pretend life is Stardew Valley. They also have physical differences, but with their dark skin, glowing eyes, and white hair, they're the traditional black folk. For Greenlanders, they're generally accepted all over the world of Kenshi. Race doesn't matter in the United Cities, status and wealth does. The Holy Nation is a Greenlander-run faction, which means that they'll treat you as equals, so long as you believe in their not god, Okran. Western hives love everyone they can trade with, and Greenlanders are no exception. One thing to note is that the Shek, whilst tolerant of humans, are openly racist towards them, often taunting their lack of fighting capabilities and calling them flat skin. We'll get to what they mean once we get to them. Also, skin bandits. They love skin. They love human skin. If you're in skin bandit territory as a human, you're better off dead than what they plan to do with you. Or skin. Scorchlanders are treated the exact same as Greenlanders. Skin bandits still want your skin, Sheks still call you flat skin, rich people still only care about your wealth, but the Holy Nation is different. You see, whilst yes, Scorchlanders have similar rights to Greenlanders in Holy Nation territory, the chances of you finding a Scorchlander Holy Nation citizen is actually very low. This might be more to do with Scorchlanders not following the rules all the time, as said in their wiki, but it's still quite the anomaly. Up next is the Shek. Unlike humans who are well-rounded in their mediocrity, Shek are a warrior species who value strength, combat, and violence above all else. They'd rather die in battle than live in shame. Before the events of the game, they were once called enforcers and were thought to be augmented humans. But like all things in Kenshi, Shek history is unknown. I don't know any real-world parallels to give them. I did, however, find a Reddit post talking about the major factions in Kenshi and their real-world counterparts, with the user u/Kahoot music for 10 hours, Jesus Christ, that sounds like a nightmare, saying that Shek Kingdom is reminiscent of feudal Japan. You know what? Honor and death, shaman retreating, really love combat? I didn't see it before. The Shek Kingdom never reminded me of feudal Japanese culture. I guess props to me for never seeing race. Fun fact, the horns of a Shek are actually a recent addition, with the horns being a symbol of pride and honor to the Shek people. If a Shek were to have their horns cut off, it would be a sign of both weakness and dishonor and would be greatly discriminated against by the other Shek. Whilst the Shek Kingdom is enemies with the Holy Nation and United Cities, Shek people are generally accepted in UC territories. Holy Nation territory is another story. You see, back then, the Holy Nation was nothing more than a small cult of humans that fought against skeletons, a robot race. We'll get to them later. However, fighting alongside the skeletons were human-like grey people with scales that were called enforcers. After the war, the enforcers became nothing more but a bunch of war tribes. All the tribes would then be unified under the great warrior Kral, who renamed the enforcers to Shek and made the Shek Kingdom. The reason why Kral did this was because he wanted to go to war with the Holy Nation, and that's why the Holy Nation hates the Shek people. Sorry for the story, but the lore is necessary to make one understand the prejudice. In fact, past this point, the Holy Nation will be discriminatory to all races, so I won't bother mentioning them anymore, or the United Cities since, once again, they care more about wealth and status among other things. Skin bandits are also very neutral towards Shek since they don't have human skin. They have more scales, which make for good protection in combat. This is also why they call humans flat skins, because it refers to their naturally weak bioarmor, or skin as you flat skins call it. Besides the skin bandits, I don't actually know any more discriminatory or privileged things Sheks have. Whilst considered more barbaric, they are treated equally among the other factions. Hive are a similar story, but with a twist. You see, unlike the other races, all the hivers that the player gets to play are considered hiveless due to the fact that they lost connection with their queen. Because of this, hive are actually discriminatory towards and only towards their own species. Hiveless found in hive villages will often be denied services and be yelled at to leave or be attacked. Like the Sheks, I couldn't find any real world comparison, but from sources that popped out of my ass, they are often associated with the Chinese for some reason. I don't know, I vaguely remember an ambiguous amphibian video calling hive Chinese, but in actuality, and obviously, hive actually represent more a mix of ant and bee culture, with the hive following a queen, similar to ants and bees, hive villages being made of vomit, similar to bees? I don't know, man, I'm not from Earth, I'm a jellyfish from space. Your golden record is ass in other animal biology. So, of all these races, which one is the most discriminated against? Humans? Shek? Hive? I'll let you have a guess. Got your answer? Well, you're wrong! Absolutely and utterly. Wanna know why? Because I purposefully didn't include the fourth race in Kenshi, the skeletons. One of the oldest species in Kenshi, rumored to have been alive longer than humanity. Skeletons are robots that are alive. Like, alive. They can feel emotions, though they cannot show it. They have a sense of humor, though only funny to them, and they can die and go insane like any other living being. Granted, they don't need to eat, but their body still ages. Skeletons are some of the most discriminated against people in Kenshi. They are rarely considered living by other races. They are non-existent in the Shek Kingdom, aside from way stations. They are hunted to extinction by the Holy Nation, and they are seen as exotic by the nobles in the United Cities. Even with all this injustice though, skeletons don't really try to fight back and mostly keep to themselves. There are some skeleton political figures in Kenshi. Senior Tinfist is the leader of the anti-slavers. They fight against the United Cities and their love for slavery. There is also the Mad Catlon who exiled himself to his throne in the Ashlands, forever hating humanity because they suck to babysit. Honestly speaking, the skeletons remind me of indigenous people in America and Canada. They have a different culture than most races, and they are also being hunted to extinction by a religious group, wink wink nudge nudge. Skeletons also heal differently. They need a repair kit and a skeleton bed because skeleton parts naturally degrade over time. Both a repair kit and skelly bed are very expensive, which is another form of discrimination, privilege. Skeletons need to fork over 4,000 cats to heal themselves and 2,000 cats to sleep. Whilst, you know how much an average biological person must pay for a healing item? $70. I mean, it's still a crime they're selling band-aids at the same amount I bought Red Dead Redemption 2, but the repair kits are more egregious. So, that's the end of the video. The skeletons are the most discriminated race in Kenshi. That's not exactly something to be celebrated about, but here, for you. Anyways, remember kids, those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music. The name's Corpman. Henry Corpman. I'll see you in a fortnight. They're the fuck me. I have to talk about complex issues with confidence. If you know any other acts of... Fuck, I can't pronounce C. Acts. If you know any other acts of... So as long as you believe in they're not God... So long as you believe in they're not God, Okran. What? Yeah. Also, skin bandits. They love skin. They love Both a repair kit and skelly bed are very expensive. Fuck. I'll see you in a fortnight. Shit. Don't tell me it was off the whole time.